Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Yang Zing deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because this is a synchro deck, which is one of my favorite mechanics in the entire game. But this deck does something a little bit interesting that not a lot of other synchro decks do, and that's give your synchro monsters buffs and rewards for using different Yang Zing monsters as materials, like giving them 500 extra attack points, immune to spells, traps, and being destroyed by battle, which is really cool about this deck. So without further ado guys, let's get straight on into this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on this. But before we do guys, I really quickly do want to mention that we do have a Patreon and a Ko-Fi down in the description if you guys would like to donate to the channel. Those links are there, and any donations that we do get is much appreciated. So let's get straight on into this one. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Suwani, Fire of the Yang Zing. This one's a really good card because it makes it so any monster that's used as a synchro material gains 500 additional attack. Now that looks like a lot of text on the Yang Zing, so to summarize it really quickly, a lot of your Yang Zings have the ability that you can once per turn during your opponent's main phase or battle phase immediately after this card resolves, synchro summon a synchro monster using Yang Zing monsters you control, and it's a quick effect. So it lets you synchro summon during your opponent's turn, but it also has the ability that they all float if they're destroyed by battle or by card effect. All of your main ones, like your earth, wind, water, and fire, all let you float into other Yang Zings, which is really cool because if they're destroyed by battle or something like that, you just put a different one on the field and float into the next one. So your opponent's never going to get at your life points. Then with other cards in the deck like Yang Zing Creation, it also gives you rewards for them being destroyed by battle. So this one's particular ability, when it's used as a synchro material, it lets the synchro monster gain 500 attack, which is really cool. Then we play 3 copies of the Earth Yang Zing monster. So this one makes it so the monster that's used as synchro, the synchro monster that's used that synchro summon using this card lets it not be destroyed by battle, which is really cool too. We play 2 copies of the Water Yang Zing, which makes them immune to traps when you use him as a material, and 2 copies of the Wind Yang Zing, which makes them immune to spells, which is really cool because they kind of stack on one another, where you can give, being immune to traps, spells, and being destroyed by battle, which gives them an additional boosts and stuff like that, where you can literally make an immortal, except for being kaiju'd, a immortal monster where it just can't be destroyed by anything, which is really cool. Now, a little bit of a tech card that I play as a one-of in here is a 1 copy of the Shadow of the Yang Zing, because you can float into it extremely easily, and it's a 2100 beat stick, but it's something that I kind of wanted to throw back because it's Master Rule 5 kind of more based deck. This card's really interesting because when this card you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon another Yang Zing monster in defense position, but it also has the ability that possession of a synchro monster on the field that is used to synchro summon this card cannot switch, which is kind of nice with stuff like mind control and cards like that, but it's just good to have to be able to float in and out of. You can side it out if you want to for other cards like a Monster Reborn or something like that, but I like it as a one-of. Then we play 3 copies of Darkness of the Yang Zing. This card is the best tuner in the deck besides Chao Fang. This card's super interesting because it has the ability that when this card you control is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Yang Zing from your deck in attack position, but it also has the ability that if you control no other monsters except this card, you can send 2 Yang Zing cards from your hand to the grave to special summon a Yang Zing monster with 0 attack and 1 Yang Zing monster with 0 defense from your deck, but banish them during the end phase. So you basically special summon them, and it lets you synchro summon into something that you might particularly need, which is really cool in this deck because you really might want to summon something that is a higher level, and this card helps you get into those higher level monsters. Then we play 3 copies of Chao Fang. Chao Fang is super cool in this deck because it also has the ability that it floats, and then when this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card, and if you do, banish it when it leaves the field when a Yang Zing monster is destroyed by battle. So it just instantly puts itself back on the field and rewards you for your other Yang Zings being destroyed. We play 2 copies of Zephyr Nui, Secret of the Yang Zing, which I still think has one of the derpiest looking faces in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's really funny, like he's about to get at you with that face. It's hilarious. When this card is Pendulum Summon, or when this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, in your monster zone you can add a Yang Zing or Zephyra spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. But basically this card lets us search 9 pillars, which is why I play it as a 2-of, and plus it's also a level 6 monster that helps us get into other monsters as well. So that's why I play this card at the number that I do. You can actually put a couple of different monsters on board. Like you can put this and a Beyond and the Jiaotu on the field. You can put those three and it equals 11. And then put a Star Eater that's immune to being destroyed by battle on the field, which is really cool. And then Search of 9 Pillars. I mean, it's just a good card. Then I play Zavraxia. I played at 1 because it turns into a level 3 synchro or level 3 tuner when it's special summoned, which is really cool, and it just helps out with the deck. I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom as well, just to kind of hand trap our opponent so we don't have to deal with, them searching for their deck. And then something that's interesting in this deck, I actually played double Nibiru in the main. I'm really starting to really love playing Nibiru in the main as a 2-of. And so this deck is not, you don't want to have to deal with a bunch of monsters, so Nibiru really catches your opponent off guard. Even though this deck floats into a lot of stuff, it does tribute your monsters and sends them to the graveyard, or send your monsters to the graveyard, which is not that big of a deal. Because if you're doing this on first turn or going second in this deck, you can just get Nibiru. You can Nibiru your opponent. It's not that big of a deal. So anyways, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're just going to be playing a few in this deck. We're going to be playing 3 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is really good because we don't want to get hand trapped, because we are special summoning from deck a lot and you don't want to get hand trapped. 3 copies of Yangzing Path. Yangzing Path is still, in my opinion, one of the best draw cards in the entire game, which we played as a 3 of. You can target 3 Yangzing monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and if you do, draw 2 cards. You don't really need any other draw cards besides this card in this deck, because you're just going to shuffle back into your deck the Yangzings that are floating into the other Yangzings. And plus, if you activate something like Jiaotu's effect, the Darkness of the Yangzing, and send 2 Yangzing cards from your hand to the graveyard, then special summon 2 from the deck, and then synchro with those 3 that's on the field, the Jiaotu and the 2 that are on the field, you're already at 5 Yangzings in the grave. You activate Path, shuffle the Jiaotu back into the deck, and then have all sorts of plays from there, because you just searched your deck for more cards. Then, for the last 3 cards I play as the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Dark Hole, because Dark Hole is at 3, and that's really cool, because all of your Yangzings float into one another, destroyed by battle or by card effects. You can just activate this and then float into the Yangzings that you particularly want. And plus, your opponent really is going to have a tough time with Dark Hole. Yes, they might negate one, and it sometimes is bait, because you can activate this against Salamandrates. They might flip their Roar or their Rage or something like that, because they know you're going to get pluses and they're going to get minuses. So you flip this, or you activate this, and they flip their Rage, or no, it's Roar, that's the counter trap, and they try and negate it. Well, then you can play through whatever you want to play through, because you've already triggered their Roar or their Chateau or Crescendo if you're playing against Orcus. So it depends on what you're playing against. This card can come in really clutch. So that's it for the spells. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, I am playing kind of an older school build, which I really like, and that's 3 copies of Creation. Creation is super good now because of the way that the Master Rule 5 has turned the game, because it lets you just keep putting monsters on the field. Because once per turn, if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon a Yangzing monster from your deck. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except synchro monsters. That is not a big deal. The reason people quit playing this is because they had to link summon to get their synchro monsters out, but you don't have to now. This locks you into synchro summoning, and that's fine, because all we play in the extra deck is synchro monsters. Now, I will mention when we get to the extra deck, if you want to play in Master Rule 4 until Master Rule 5 comes out on April 1st, I will mention like 1 or 2 cards that you might be able to take out for like a Beat Cop or a Lambda. So you can actually have link arrows to go into that. But I would probably not change this out. If you're going to take this out, put in Super Poly. Then we could play 3 copies of 9 Pillars. 9 Pillars is so good in this deck. When a Spell Trap or Monster effect is activated and you control a Yangzing, negate the activation. If you do, shuffle that card into the deck. Then destroy 1 other Yangzing card you control. You just pop a Yangzing on your side of the field to get pluses. If you have this on the field, you get 2 Yangzings out on your side of the field. And it's just so good. Like, I'm really excited because I want to see if Delong, because I'm making this before they do the ban list, I want to see if Delong comes back to 1. I would love to see Delong come back to 1. but we'll see. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck where the magic happens. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Chao Fang. Chao Fang is such a good card. If you guys don't know what this card does, when this card is synchro summoned on your field, your opponent cannot activate card or effects, monster effects with the same original attribute as the Yang Zings that you use as materials to summon this card. And then when this card is synchro summoned, it's destroyed by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add a tuner monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, when a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon a worm type monster from your deck in defense position whose original attribute matches the original attribute of one of the destroyed monsters. So it's really good because we do play so many different attributes in this deck that it's not even that big of a deal because we play every single attribute in this deck. So you're going to be able to special summon something off of the Chao Fang. 2 copies of Baxia. Baxia is MVP in this deck. When it's synchro summoned, you get to target cards on the field up to the number of different attributes of worm monsters used as material to summon this card, and then you can shuffle them into the deck. And then it also has the ability that once per turn, you can target one card you control and a level 4 lower monster in your graveyard, destroy the one on your field, and if you do, special summon the one from your graveyard. Which is cool as well because you're going to use something to synchro summon this card, and it's going to be a level 4 lower usually. You're going to give this card buffs, but the only downside to this card is that it's only 2300. So that's why it's important to put in a Suwani to make it go up to 2800 instead of 2300. So that's a really good card. It's good for shuffling cards into your opponent's deck, and it can just be used as a good beatdown card on your opponent. So I highly recommend you play it at least 2. I played 2 copies of Yazi. Yazi is really good in this deck too. This was my favorite of the Yang Zings when they first released these. But basically, it cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. And then it also has the ability that you can target a Yang Zing you control and one card your opponent controls and destroy them. And then when this card you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, and you can special summon a worm monster from your deck in defense position, it just special summons any one. I thought about playing Mare in here, but I kind of leaned away from it because I wanted to go for more of a synchro attribute. For the generic synchro monsters we're playing in here, we're playing a Star Eater. Yes, I did pick up a Ghost Rare just for this deck profile. This card is really good, and I mean really good in this deck. When it's synchro summoned, your opponent cannot target, or it can't negate it. Like, they can't solemn strike it. They can't strike it. They can't do any of the solemn cards against this card, which is really cool. And then when it attacks, they can't activate any card effects. Like, it's immune to everything when it's attacking, which is cool. It is a level 11, but that's not that big of a deal. It's really easy to get out this level 11, and it's the only big level 11 that we play. 1 copy of Trish. Trish is extremely easy to get out in this deck, so we play it as a 1 of. Beals is crazy in this deck. You can make Beals so easy because Jiaotu, it just summons out like anything that you want to put out on the field. Like, all you have to do is put like the Water Yang Zing, Jiaotu, and I think it's Suwani. You put those 3 out and it equals 8. And then you synchro into Beals because you're using a Dark Tuner monster. So this card becomes 35 on field and it's immune to traps. Pretty good. 1 copy of Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing's another extremely easy card to get out of here, but you have to use a synchro monster in order to synchro summon it. So it's a little bit more difficult to get out in the deck, but it's not too hard. 1 copy of Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon comes in clutch because you do want to summon the Black Rose sometimes and blow for board, which is cool too. Shooting Riser Dragon. Shooting Riser Dragon is really good in this deck, and people underestimate this card, but it helps me get into the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon really easily. Sometimes it does count as a tuner, so you have to use another, like, you can't go into this with this, but it helps me go into like Star Eater a little bit easier because I can manipulate the level a little bit easier and go into any of the synchros I want besides Crystal Wing, because I have to use a synchro effect monster and a tuner, not a tuner monster. 1 copy of Coral Dragon. Coral Dragon's another one that helps me synchro climb a little bit, and when it's summoned, you get to pop something. Bryonic to be able to bounce stuff if you want to bounce stuff. High Speed Roar Chambara because you can swing twice with it. And then a single copy of Herald of the Arclight so you can synchro low, summon this, and then it's a negate on board. So if I was going to drop anything, I'd probably drop maybe the Shooting Riser and maybe the Chambara. I'd maybe drop these 2. I wouldn't drop the Chambara. I'd maybe drop just this and put it on Lambda so I could have, the Link Arrows. But that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a super fun deck. It's been a long time since I did this one, and the last time I did it was with True Kings. which was cool. It's a cool version of the deck, but I really like the pure version where you can actually just play Yang Zings in the deck and make the deck what it was meant to be to begin with. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.